love this song so much. Ah. I love this song so much. Kia ora and welcome. My name's Zoe Stevie and I'm your vocal coach for today because we are going to be taking a look at John Farnham and the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra with You're the Voice. Now, you might not know this, but this is one of my favorite songs of all time. I'm not shitting you. This is my absolute go-to karaoke song, open mic night song, everything song, because I feel that this song is timeless. This is true. This was true back in the 80s or 70s, whenever it was written. And it's true today that we need to stand strong and stand together. And we need to stand up for what we believe in. So without further ado, I'm so excited. Let's take a look at what John Farnham is up to with Your Voice. Try and understand it. I'll try not, I promise I'll try not to sing too much. I've never actually seen this particular version, so I'm excited. Okay, you'd be so surprised how many people do not know this song. I tried to sing this in New York when I was there last year, and I was just shocked that the pianist did not know the song. So when we've got this, we have the chance to turn the pages over, we're hearing a higher larynx position. John has quite a, I feel so rude calling him John, Mr. Farnham. John Farnham has quite a bright timbre to his sound. Now that could be either due to the size of the larynx, but also the height of the larynx. But we're definitely in a chest voice here. Let's take a look at what he's doing with those vowels to create that quite homogeneous sound of this first section of the first verse. We have the chance to turn the page over. Can you hear that vowel? We have the chance to turn the page. He's not going to chance to turn the pages. He's Australian, by the way. So actually when Australians and New Zealanders sing, it's actually quite similar in terms of the vowel shapes we choose. So he's almost flattening out those vowels. Turn the pages over. And back in those days, that's kind of what we did as well, largely, because it's very hard to sing in a New Zealand and an Australian accent, actually. Everything sort of ends up going quite bright. So we tend to turn things either into a slightly more Americanized accent, or what John's done here, slightly more English version of our accents. So he's flattened out those vowels. Turn the pages over. Just going to go back on that. It's quite interesting what's happening with the vibrato. We have the chance to turn the page over. We can write what we want to write. We gotta make ends meet before we get much older. So can you hear? Oh, he's got kind of a little bit of, he's got quite a fast vibrato. Now, vibrato can be made in multiple ways, but that particular vibrato sounds like it's a little bit of vibrato due to the distortion of the air at the back of the throat. And then it's quite fast and almost what we call a bit of, and no disrespect, but a bit of a bleating vibrato. It sounds like it's quite regular and a little bit too fast, and a little bit too wide for it to be sort of a true natural vibrato. But then again, this is just sort of what I'm hearing. Obviously, I would need to have him directly in front of me back at that time to really have a good listen to what's going on with the vibrato. But we're going to talk a little bit more about vibrato in the next little bit break. We're going to go, I love this. We're going to make ends meet. We'll talk about that.
We wanna ride, we gotta make ends meet before we get much older.
Can you hear that backing off of that volume switch? Whoa. And we're going back down again. That's actually, he's the ultimate performer, right? It's going to be easier on the voice as well. It just kind of creates a nice arc. But we've got that make ends meet with that air, slightly wider mouth position, a little bit of constriction coming in there. With that air vowel, he's choosing on specific sounds to create these constrict. And I know this song very, very well, so I know what's going to happen later on. But there's just a few moments where this constriction is coming in, and that's what we want, rather than having constriction kind of be a blanket sound throughout the song.
We're all someone's daughter, we're all someone's son.
You see that microphone's well away from his mouth. He is singing very loud at this point. How long can we look at each other? Wide open vowels, but do you notice that he's not over opening the mouth? He's also not doing any extraneous mouth movements. When we're singing, we're wanting to make sure that the jaw is relatively... Relaxed is the wrong word, but it's not joining in with every single one of the notes. It's just talking about kind of just like letting it be, really. And it really is. Honestly, I encourage you to find a song that is like your anthem that makes you feel good every single time you sing it, because this is so important that we singers have these moments as well. Also, to have a song that not only lifts us up, but the song is not easy to sing, but it might become easy for you to sing. But we need a song that's relatively easy for us to sing in our repertoire so that we can whip it out at performances. We can just like sing it at karaoke. We can have a good time, and we're not always worried about what's going on within our own voices, okay? All these things that I'm talking about, this is technique that we do within singing lessons, but eventually the technique needs to sit, we need to stand on stage, and we need to be able to perform it. Guarantee you John's not given two shits about where his tongue placement is, because he's put in all the work in advance in order to get there, and that is exactly why I have my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, where I give one-to-one singing lessons to help singers like yourself with exactly this. And that is exactly why I have my 3-day Find Your Chest Voice challenge, so that you can work on your technique little by little. So eventually you can stand on stage and do exactly this. So check it out in the description below.
We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear. This time.
Do you know, I always get that entrance wrong. I always come in a couple of beats too late. Now I just gotta thank you, John, for correcting me. So we've got, you can see that we're not gonna live in fear. Oh, that's actually quite hard. We're up on the C5. So in male voices, this is going to be quite high. In a female voice, this is also quite high, up on that C5, which is the C above middle C. The female chest voice register generally sits around the B flat, 4 B flat, which is 1 to 2 semitones below that note. And that E, that closed vowel, relatively difficult up there. We're going to talk about how you can navigate through that later on.
We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear.
got a little bit of sort of a classical setup, right? This time we know, I'm overdoing it, all can stand together. As I said, this sort of like homogenous kind of vowel, but a little bit more of this northwest kind of going on. And no, I'm not meaning the Kardashian version of northwest. I'm meaning that we're going with a bit more of an elongated mouth shape. That's what we call rounding out the vowels, tends to be used a little bit more in classical voice use, but that can actually help us to gain a little bit more resonance on the note, especially when we're singing the same note over and over again, because he's sort of like doodling around the same area.
All can stand together.
See that mouth shape? All can stand together. That's going to be one of the reasons why these vowels are also a little bit more anglicized as opposed to being like, true blue Australian.
With the power to be powerful, even we can make it better.
Up on the A4 there, believe in we, and that's why you open up on that vowel, because when we're going believe in, that would be actually relatively difficult for us to sing, and also it sounds quite bright and quite harsh, so we open up on that vowel. Believe in we can make it better. Opening up those vowels also, while it allows more sound to come out of your mouth, but it takes away a little bit of that brightness or the harshness that will come from a closed wide vowel.
We're on someone's shoulder. We're on someone's side. Oh yeah. Down the barrel of a gun. Sing it loud. Tell the boys try to understand it. Make a noise and make it feel.
I've just decided in this moment, the world is in an awful place. I didn't just decide that in this moment, but I've just decided in this moment that any money that is taken from ad spend from this video is going to go towards, I'm going to donate everything to Doctors Without Borders. I'm also putting up a donation page here. I do encourage you to support those in the world who need Doctors Without Borders, because this is exactly what the sentiment of the song is about. How long can we look at each other down the barrel of a gun? Doctors Without Borders is the most amazing organization helping those who need the most help in the world. So that's why I'm going to put the donation page up here. I ask you, if you have any money to spare, then please donate. And if you don't have the ability to donate, it's not a problem. Every single cent earned from this video is going to be donated to Doctors Without Borders. So just play the video again, because, let YouTube donate the money. Let's go back on that. Oh, I love this belting moment. Now, I know some vocal coaches might actually say, like, this is how I want you to belt. Not necessarily. This is the way that he's belting. Down the barrel of a gun. It's actually more to do with the vowel that we're getting that jaw shape there. As I said before, we're wanting the jaw to be relatively, like, uninvolved with the sound. I'm not talking about overly open. I'm not talking about it being just like, oh, sitting there and relaxed. But we're letting go of the jaw. Down the barrel of a gun. So we've got that vowel there. The tongue is relatively flat in the mouth, but because we're in this belting posture, which is basically that the cricoid has tipped back in order to make the vocal folds thicker than thick, it's like chest voice on steroids. This is what's causing that sort of feeling of a gun. I'm not saying to you that I want you to like bring your jaw forward. That's just because he's got a great profile that's also happening.
Oh yeah. Down the barrel of a gun. Sing it loud. Tell the boys try to understand it. Make a noise and make it feel. We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear.
I always find that moment in the song like a bit bananas, to be honest. But I love it. I'm here for it. So you saw him there. Whoa, whoa. he kind of like almost went back and down. Now, most singers do not necessarily like write songs that go to the upper echelons of their range. They're always kind of sitting within a kind of comfortable part of their range. But it, would look boring if he was to sing the song the way that he probably can, which is, probably with a head cold in a headstand. Although that wouldn't be boring. But anyway, so we're seeing that movement backwards. We've got that engagement of those back muscles. Whoa! I don't necessarily recommend that you're looking down. I don't want you to kind of follow that. That's what John's doing in this moment. I want you to think about looking forward, and if not, a tiny bit raised, because that is actually going to help us to stop the complete forward movement of the thyroid cartilage, which is here where the vocal folds live, and that's going to help us a little bit to stay in that belting posture. He caught that. I was a little bit worried there for a second there. Whew. Okay, so we've got I was wondering where was he going to throw that mic stand that looks like a hardcore one. Actually, that reminds me just on a little moment. There is so much crap music equipment out there in the world at the moment. I tell you, I've been caught out a couple of times by like brands that I thought were really, really good and are now complete shit. I have discovered the Tama or Tama, whichever way you want to say it. They are actually a drum stand brand, but they make microphone stands. And like, if you're looking for the microphone stand to like beat all microphone stands, I'm not shitting you. I have them in my studio. They are solid as 100. I think they're really fucking heavy, but they're excellent and they don't fucking wobble about and you don't end up having to like re-screw them together and all that. So I don't know if that's what he's got anyway. This wasn't meant to be like a moment, but I just wanted to share with you. I'll put a link in the description below because the Tama microphone stands are like out of this world when it comes to like, don't buy shit. Don't buy a cheap microphone stand because you'd be forever like worrying about it wiggling all over the place. Buy one stand for life. That's all you need. Like microphones, really. They don't go off. Okay. Let's just go back on that because you can really see how loud he's singing.
We're all someone's daughter. We're all someone's son. Hello, can we look at each other?
He's just like casually putting his microphone there. Like, how many times could he adjust that thing? So we've got a roll, we're all someone's daughter. Up on the F4 there, we're talking about this. The male chest voice needs to do something different when we go over the middle C or the C4. That's when we start to get into what we would call like the trained territory of singing. So we need a little bit of thyroid tilt, which is where we use the cry, and we need those thicker vocal folds of the chest. Whoa, we're all someone's daughter. You can hear that in the sound. But again, we've got a very sort of relaxed jaw position. We've got this slight opening going on. Who did he just throw that to? Oh my God. Okay. So we can see that the amount of the amount of body tension that he's using in this moment. This is another perfect example of how there is no such thing as one rule about body engagement when it comes to singing. We do want, when they say don't sing from your throat, you can only fucking sing from your throat, yeah? So, but we're talking about using the other muscles of the body to support the sound. But this isn't the same for everyone. If someone has maybe done a lot of weightlifting or has been a dancer or has been a gymnast or done any type of sport, actually, you're going to have a base level of muscle stability and muscle strength that someone who's never ever done sport or weightlifting or anything like that is not going to have. That person who's never done sport or any type of movement in their life is going to need or going to have the perceived effort or the feeling of that they're working a lot harder than someone who has had who done sport in their life, or even someone who's done a lot of sport in their life is going to even need less work within their body. So I don't want you to take this moment to go like, fuck, I've got to like really like power on down. I want you to use this as a moment to say, okay, I do need a little bit of body engagement. So I like to tell students to move like this. Oh, we're out someone's daughter, we're out someone's son, how long? And that's going to help us to build up the subglottic pressure, but we're also using quite a lot of body engagement. We're just moving side to side.
Make a noise and make it feel. We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear. The young boys try and understand it. Make a noise and make it feel.
So he's staying in the same sort of part of the voice, and you could hear he's moving you can see he's moving around the stage, but the voice does not really change. We don't need vocal fireworks all the time in a song. It's about the delivery, and sometimes this is much harder to deliver than a song that actually starts to like wiggle all over the place.
We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear. Your turn. You're the voice. Come on now. Big one. We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear.
Can you hear the difference though between those? So he's in Melbourne, obviously part of Australia. So can you go, you're the voice, try and understand it, make a noise and make it clear. I love that. I love it that the audience is doing that. So this is where accents become a little bit challenging. You have to remember that in New Zealand and Australia, it was really discouraged, even when I was at school. And when, it was considered to be really, really like low brow for us to sing in our natural accent. So it was really discouraged. Actually, at schools and things like that, I mean, in my schools, they wouldn't let us do that. And my singing teacher never let me sing in my real accent. But it's also about the vowel shape. So New Zealanders and Australians have more of a closed vowel, but the closed vowel actually makes it extremely difficult for us. So if I was to sing that, you're the voice, try and understand it, make a noise and make it clear. So you can see my mouth barely opens if I'm genuinely staying in my actual accent. And what ends up happening is because of that closed vowel shape and the wideness of my mouth, that's causing a lot of brightness, and it's very, very brassy when we sing like that. Now, not everyone wants to sing like that, though some people do. No, like whatever you want to do, it doesn't really matter. I think it's beautiful either way, but most people want to have a little bit of all of the overtones or as many as the overtones as possible in their sound. That's why we say to open up the vowel. He's up there on the C5. You're the voice, try and understand it. Now for a female voice register, this is just out of the chest voice register, but for a male, that is a high belt. You could see their body engagement going back and he's almost leaning forward. I think that's more to do with the performance. But when we do lean forward, that's also helping us to pull up through the pelvic floor. It can help support that belting sound. But he has got a straight neck. Your voice, try and understand it. You'll notice some singers actually, when they go high, have a natural tendency to want to go down or like into these kind of power postures. That, as I said, it can help us to pull up through the pelvic floor, but it also helps us to engage a lot more of the body when we go into that mini squat. And could you just see that moment? Whoa! You know, the song is really long, right? Like you're literally just singing the same chorus over and over again. This is 5 minutes 37, okay? I would have stopped at a couple of choruses ago, but otherwise I'll get killed on this channel. So, but you can see that, whoa! Sometimes it's easier to go up and back to engage some of those back muscles. It's not a must though. Please don't take anything I say here as being like the one rule. Every single voice is different, and every single, like, it's based on your accent, it's based on your experience, it's based on what sort of music you listen to, it's based on a lot of your physiology. What can you do? And we need to build this up individually in your voice, which is exactly why my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, has one-to-one singing lessons where you meet personally with a trainer, and we have open coaching and masterclasses. So you're seeing these sounds in other singers to help you get a better idea of what you're listening out for, and you're getting that one-to-one singing lesson so that you are making sure that this is actually applying to you. How can you work better at your sound and not just have these blanket tutorials online? So I'd love to see you. You can apply in the description below, because I'm going to help you to reach these high notes. Okay, we're going to help you to belt up there. I absolutely love that song. Wow, 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 wow. I love the theme of the song, as I've said multiple times. I absolutely love it. I think it just rings true. I think it rings true, especially today. And I just wanted to say that we can do better, and it's really important that we also focus on what we can do for the world. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So haven't looked at John Farnham before, but I'm going to find something really, really similar, and I'm going to put it up here so that you can keep on learning. Thank you so much for joining me. Can you do me a massive favor though? Hit that subscribe button, because it really does help me to help more people like yourself here on YouTube with your vocal technique. I'm a full-time singing teacher, and I love spending time with you, helping you to learn more about this amazing instrument that is the voice. So do me a solid favor and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you right in next time. And just remember, anyone can learn to sing. It's just about learning step by step how to do it. So, mwah, ka kite anō.